Well, safe to say that we made it, because that's the finish line right there. Yeah. Loretta Lynn's Amateur National Championships 2025. It's time for a track walk.
Yeah, sounds great.
You and the rest of the fastest 42 in the land will line up over there. Right here is basically the first turn right here. All gonna be nice and tilled up every single start. On the first lap, you're heading straight that way. Otherwise, it's the billboard turn or billboard section. Doesn't look too scary now, but wait till she's nice and deep. This is, oh, I'm sinking into this just with my shoes on. This is wild.
That's right.
Billboard turn, or billboard section doesn't sound like much, but it's pretty serious. And that's also where you're gonna get some advice from your mechanic. This is a mechanics area right here. This is the only spot on track that you get communication from your mechanic or pit crew. All right, so let's say you survive the first corner and you happen to get yourself a whole shot. Well, now you've got options. You can either send it over this single, which on the first lap can be disastrous, but you'd also leap out to a massive lead. Or you can go around the outside, around the outside, around the outside, and head off into a pretty flat section. But like I said earlier, the ruts are going to get serious all weekend long. And there are some thunder showers in the forecast, so be careful about that as well. I know what you're thinking. It's just a straightaway. What's the big deal? Loretta's mustn't be a very challenging track. Well, wait until about 1,400 other riders are ripping through here. 1,400 of the fastest racers in the country, by the way. And this is super soft. This is gonna get super rutted, and it all funnels down into a couple of lines coming through this corner. It's gonna be about usually five or six to be selected from in this particular corner. They all lead to the same place though. 10 Commandments. That's where we're going next. Another fairly simple straightaway, but like I said, ruts, don't forget about that. You can go around the outside and then double your way in, or you can sneak around the inside and jump straight into these things. Let's check it out. Thou shalt not get off the gas, thou shalt not drop the front end, because we're here at the 10 Commandments.
Yo, look at Tom.
These things are just plain rude. These things will put you in your place and humble the most confident of men and young ladies for that matter. Skim across the top, row through them, or double, 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 triple, triple, triple is the fastest line. Just ask some of the Open Pro Sport guys. No two are the same size. No two are the same strength, and there will be ruts at the bottom of these things all weekend long. And once they're completed, and they're very hard. Once they're done, you get into this stuff here. As soon as you get into this, as soon as you enter this section of the track, is immediately soft again. So that means this raised corner, this off camber, which is very tricky, is gonna have at least 4 ruts along the inside here, and then you'll have a couple of vet lines for me and my buddies on the outside. So you've navigated that off-cambered corner. Now it's time to exit this progressively tighter right-hand corner. Pretty flat, there's not a lot to turn off of unless you're into one of those really deep ruts. And then you head off into this very short section. There's a lot of time that can be won and lost here. It might look simple, but you're gonna go up over this rise and then straight into this corner. You're going inside to inside every day of the week, unless you happen to get a really bad start. Then you need to utilize those vet lines to go out around the outside of those slower traffic in front of you. So let's say you snag that inside rut. You get the inside leg up, yeah, just and you head off into this section here, very soft. You've got a little section here where there's some sand thrown down just to make things a little bit more difficult. And that face right there is as hard as a rock and cold as ice when it comes to sending guys over the bars and straight to Indonesia, because that's the triple that heads off into Storyland. So let's say you're one of the top 5, 65, and honestly, some of the 50 kids even send this thing. 65cc 7 to 11 kids, or 7 to 9 kids definitely send this thing. This is longer than a Supercross triple. This is 70 feet easy. And these shadows are this is actually quite reminiscent of what you'll find later in the day. It's right around 4 o'clock. So when you jump off of this jump here, you're gonna be landing into very steep ruts as you head off into Storyland. Why is it called Storyland? Well, back in the day, when the property was a lot smaller, a lot of the families used to park in and around here, and that's where all those stories down by the bonfire late at night, that's when it would get cultivated. That's where it gets its name. All right, so let's just imagine that we threw a sick whip off that triple. We landed both wheels on the ground, hopefully. And again, we're into some very soft soil. This stuff has there's a ton of mulch mixed into it. There's a ton of like rice holes and all kinds of just sort of soft soil to really allow this to continue to break down throughout the weekend. This is an option corner. You can go up the inside here. This is the shorter distance. Round the outside is nice and smooth, but you're gonna have to go over a lot more real estate. You find that with almost every corner here at the ranch. If you're gonna go inside, you're gonna pay the price. If you're gonna go outside, it can be a long lap for you. So you gotta keep up all that momentum. And this area of the track gets very, very dried out because as you can see in this area of the track, this is probably the area that has the least amount of shade. Although there's shade where I'm at right now, this is the only part of the day where you're actually gonna experience that. You know, there's been some lonely laps taking place out here, whether you're leading by a large margin or maybe you're enjoying a very solitary second place. This part of the track can feel like you're kind of almost removed from everything. Camping, this is just where it really starts, honestly. This is just kind of like the beginning of it all. As you exit Storyland, there's a double, and then there's some guys in the open Pro Sport class that turn that into a triple. All right, grab that inside line. Up over this small, I guess you'd call this more of like a tabletop than anything. That's what it is. Single jump, grab a gear, and take off of this triple. A lot of the super minis, a lot of the 80s are probably doubling this. Pretty much anything over a 125 is probably gonna triple over towards that tree before you head off onto the sand. Oh, there we go. We landed off the triple. And again, you kind of always have an option with Lorettas. Go inside, you're gonna deal with the pimple, you're gonna deal with a little elevation change, gonna upset the chassis a little bit, but you can rip around the outside. I honestly think that's probably the most popular method for most of the fast guys, especially when they get some clean air. They're just gonna go around the outside and stay on the gas. This, I guess you'd call this like a two-stage tabletop. You can land on top or you can land all the way to the bottom. And this thing stands about 15 feet tall and extends out maybe about 50 feet, maybe 60 feet total. Okay. As you can see, that's where the kids are standing. It's basically the knuckle of this jump. It's a pretty forgiving jump. This is the area of the track that challenges a lot of the riders. As soon as you land off of this thing, you got about 20 feet, and then it's some of the deepest, gnarliest sand. Very unforgiving, always whooped out. Basically the entire week it acts that way. But yeah, we got the future MX kids checking it right now. I think they're from Florida. Forgive me for trying to keep a little bit of sand out of my shoes early in the weekend here. Walking alongside it. It's literally grass right beside it, but this is very deep sand. They do water the crap out of it, so kind of keep the dust down, keep the sand from just ruining guys' goggles, but this gets pretty rough. And I've seen a lot of time gained and lost in this section here. If a kid's not used to riding a lot of sand, if they're not used to that soft soil, as soon as the sand ends, it's time to get back into the ruts. And this takeoff right here, it looks more or less like kind of more like a speed check, and it actually uses a speed check for more riders than it is as actually a jump. But the fastest guys here will grab a gear coming out, and they're aiming to land over there. Hard to see with the video, but there's actually a small dip, and maybe I'd call that like a little bit of a speed bump, just scrub off a little bit of speed. Before I walk over there, just a quick check for this next section here. You're gonna go through this left, And then this tabletop, very forgiving. Basically, you can like land to here and basically just gas it all the way to that takeoff. That is the basically a wide open third gear double, and it lands straight into sand rollers. So if you're so inclined, you can hit send. To give you guys a little bit of an idea just how soft this stuff really is, basically everyone who walks leaves footprints everywhere they go. So when it comes time to let the back wheels loose on this, it's absolute mayhem. It's pandemonium. And that means ruts every single inch of this track, even up some of the jump faces. This one here, this has been here for a number of years. This is maybe one of the most permanent structures on the track, aside from the announcing tower. It's big, it is forgiving, you still gotta send it. So you sent it. And you can basically land where I'm at right now, or you can go all the way to the secondary landing, which is obviously a little bit further and carry on a little bit more momentum into this jump, which again has been here for quite some time. Because they disc up this section here, there's gonna be ruts in between this, and you'll even see some super minis grab a gear and maybe all the balls they got, get to the top of this face, and you're actually aiming for the other side of that sand pile right there, believe it or not. Absolutely wild. And when you do land, it's soft as. So once you land, you basically have to be on the gas with your butt over the rear fender. Otherwise you're heading to Indonesia, or maybe you're just gonna like auger the front end in. This is big risk, big reward here at Loretta Lynn's. All right, so now you guys have joined me at the beach. Just kidding. It's the second last corner at the track here. Don't let anyone tell you different. The fastest way around this particular corner is the inside. Yeah, you can carry a lot of speed around the outside. It's big, it's wide open, it's a banked corner. And I've seen some guys out there ripping it, which is probably easier late in the motos to do something like that, but it does get rough out there. And this area of the corner is a lot more hard packed. So yeah, even if you maybe have that MX-14 on, maybe you're running a paddle, you still want to be on the inside of this corner. Shortest amount of distance. I've literally seen races come down to the very last corner and be decided by this one when they end up over there. Last corner. All is said and done. After you go out through this corner, there's maybe been one or two races that have been decided after this corner right here. One that comes to mind 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year. Andrew Short and Mike Brown. Mike, I hope you're healing up a little bit, buddy. It came down to the section after this, but this is super soft as my foot just like went straight in. Where was that? Yeah, that's super soft there. Couple of small jumps as you leave this section, nothing crazy. And that's why kids can kind of send it, or kids like young and old can send it and try and get themselves a last ditch pass for the end of it. Small jump, like it's a small double. Most people are jumping this, probably first, second gear, easy. Even if you came out of that corner in second, you're probably jumping it. Same thing with this jump here. A lot of those smaller bikes will stay low over this so that they can get the proper drive. Because as you land, if this is not your last lap, you actually want to be able to square up and head towards these jumps here. Otherwise, checker flag flies, and that's a lap at Loretta Lynn's. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on this lap here at Loretta Lynn's 2025. I'm a lot sweatier than when I started this lap. And yeah, it took me about 30 minutes to walk it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Check out BigMx Radio on iTunes, Spotify, hopefully on YouTube as well. Trying to get better at that. But yeah, amazing facility. Gonna be an amazing race. I'm gonna go catch some AC. Thanks for watching.